During the 1st century, the Emperor of Rome, Nero, had died in the year 68 AD. However, a lot of Romans didn't believe that their king had passed. In fact, they believed he had just faked his own death and will eventually return to the throne. Be it because they loved or hated him, this misconception grew, which brought about pretenders who wanted the throne for themselves and caused several rebellions that came at the cost of human lives. What I'm trying to say here is that conspiracy theories have always existed, and their power and influence have never wavered. If anything, it has only strengthened throughout time. In this video, I will try to explain several things: their origins, their dangers, hopefully explain why they have gotten so big and why there's so many of them, and also why this might be Star Wars' fault. Several archetypes have emerged throughout history. These archetypes represent the best of humanity. The most famous out of all of them has to be the hero, a chosen character within a story meant to represent the rest of humanity. And the way our modern world has found to express these adventures is through the hero's journey. From Superman to Rick Sanchez to Luke Skywalker, these characters all use this blueprint within their stories. And as time has gone on, the hero expanded into the hero's journey, a layout on how a story should be presented. This model was popularized by George Lucas's former franchise Star Wars, which is now one of the biggest intellectual properties on the planet. There are plenty of other people on the internet that are way more qualified to be talking about this subject, so I will keep it as brief as possible. The hero's journey is a round map on how to lay out the events within a story. It goes as follows. It begins with the call to adventure, the beginning of the story and the entering of the unknown, and it usually follows with the supernatural aid. We continue the threshold with the beginning of the transformation of the hero. We then go into the revelation or the abyss, the moment that changes the hero for the better, with the follow-up being the complete transformation of the hero. We then finish it off with the atonement and then the return. Be it the return home or the return to a status quo, things come back to the way they used to be. Now granted, at times some aspects have changed. However, this is the basic blueprint on how modern stories are written. And in our modern world, this method has been used more frequently than others. The hero's journey was not always the most popular story method. However, it somehow found a way to dominate the world. Now, I do believe there are several things wrong with this. Firstly is that it kind of destroys creativity, since more stories conform to this layout. The second, however, is something a little more sinister, an issue that shows itself in the underbelly of our society, and I believe that the best way to convey this danger is through the example of romance movies. I am not much of a romance person. I have nothing against them, they're just not for me. However, I do think they have changed how people think for the worst. The way in which these stories play out is with the concept of destiny, but more importantly, soulmates, that there is this one person who is perfect for us. And a lot of people truly believe in this concept. In an article published by The Science of People, they reveal that more than 2 out of 3, or 73% of all Americans, believe in soulmates, and I believe that romance stories have played a small part in this. Now, on the surface, this seems like a harmless statistic about America. However, this could possibly lead to underlying problems that could be damaging in the future. If someone strongly believes in soulmates, they would naturally want to seek out said person, and this could lead to 2 problems. The first is an individual that will want to be in the perfect relationship and find someone accordingly. However, eventually, like any relationship, something will go wrong. This first type of person would want to leave the relationship as soon as possible. Any relationship is a work in progress. They're about cooperation between 2 people and in some areas finding a compromise. However, in their eyes, they don't see it that way. After all, how can they be their soulmates if things didn't go as smoothly as they imagined? The second type of person is the absolute opposite. They are convinced that the person they are with is their soulmate and will stand by them no matter what. This way of thinking would be detrimental, since people will stay in relationships they probably shouldn't be anymore. Which could be that they're just not compatible, or that the relationship puts them in physical and mental harm. Because if they truly are their soulmate, then all the problems in the end will be worth it. Needless to say, these are terrible ways of thinking. And the point I'm trying to make here is that romance movies haven't made these problems, however, they played a hand in their creation. And if that weren't bad enough, this is just the topic of romance. This could also be detrimental in a broader sense. A misconception of romance is bleak. However, how does this relate to the conspiracy theories and the greater danger? Well, the hero's journey is one way to tell a story, but because of its popularity, it has centralized the hero in the modern world. It is true you can have a story that glorifies the hero while at the same time telling an impactful story. However, the message is always reduced because it's not the true focus anymore. A good example of this is the Norse myth of Ragnarok, which is an apocalypse story in which almost every character dies in a gigantic war, and in the end the world starts anew if the event of the war doesn't happen again, revealing time to be circular, forcing everyone to repeat their lives over and over again. Now, the Marvel movie Thor Ragnarok is good, but it kinda misses the point of the story. Yes, there is a moral to be found in the end, with Thor realizing that Asgard is its people and not a place. However, the moral is superseded by the character of Thor. Because just like how people take to heart the love in romance stories, some people might take the stories of the hero to heart as well. The biggest issue this type of storytelling has on someone is the growth of their own self-importance. Self-importance on an individual level leads to a false sense of grandeur, which leads to people burning down 5G towers believing they're what is spreading COVID-19. They want to have some semblance of control in a world that is getting more and more out of control. So they try to think of ways to stop the pandemic by themselves, or explaining human tragedy through a secret organization controlling everything behind the scenes. Self-importance on a level of the collective can lead to religious discrimination due to belief of superiority. If you want an example, you can just go look up religious persecution, and there are several examples of it throughout history. And finally, self-importance on a national scale can lead to racial discrimination. For example, believe that your nation is better than another, or that your leader somehow came back to life and is returning anytime soon to lead your nation to glory. I'm not trying to say that all these problems are caused by this story structure. However, they have contributed to its development. It is an issue that has existed and will exist for a very long time. There is no clear-cut solution. These issues may never go away. However, that doesn't mean we can't try. All these issues stem from the same form of delusion. There just needs to be a clear emphasis on what's important. All of these stories contain morals and lessons imbued within them. Morals that are transferred to us and when decoded can be applied to our lives. There needs to be a shift in what we glorify, the hero or the moral. Thanks for watching, I guess.